speaking of good football stuff, more money is going into players' bank accounts at a rapid rate. Congratulations to Patrick Surtain II.
Yeah.
Negotiates an extension with the Denver Broncos, obviously immediately upon arriving in the NFL from Alabama. Alabama, by the way, has now over $1 billion in contracts secured in ex-players in this particular offseason. $1 billion. We'll talk to Nick Saban about that on Friday, about how proud he has to be in that entirety. But $77.5 million guaranteed going to Patrick Surtain II from the Denver Broncos. And obviously the Denver Broncos in a little bit of a transition era here with Sean Payton from the old to the new. Russ Wilson gets a bunch of money. He's gone. They view this guy as a pillar, as they should, on the defensive side of the ball, literally since the day that he got to Denver. Now, 9-year NFL vet, host of Everything DB, Good D, Bad D. Darius J. Butler breaks it all down. Why did Patrick Surtain get this money, and what does this mean for the cornerback market as a whole?
Man, we talk about second-generation players, NFL players a lot. His dad played 11 seasons, a lot of those years for the Miami Dolphins, coached him in high school, then went on to Alabama, got coached by Nick Saban, who's obviously a defensive and a defensive back guru. You want a guy that can play off coverage, he can play off, he can play press, he can tackle. His technique, technically sound. Probably the top 5 corner almost the day he entered the league. You run to tape, Foxy. Let's see some examples of this. Just a couple quick
shout
plays.
out to NFL Pro from NFL Plus Premium. They have this new thing on NFL Plus Premium. It's called NFL Pro, and it has all 22. It has every broadcast thing. You search names. Like, let's search Lamar Jackson on third downs. It brings up all the analytics, stats, and then you can find all of the plays.
Damn.
All 22, all the broadcast. It is... This might be one for our particular program with what we do.
Weapon.
Oh, yeah.
Revolutionary.
This is a game changer. So shout out to NFL Plus Premium and NFL Pro. Let's get back into the film.
Any jag-off now can watch film like a pro. Literally, you can go right through it. You can fantasy, whatever you want, betting, whatever you want. But it's quick on the point right now. Press against Garrett Wilson. Got a slot fade. Great technique, top shoulder, look back, and great ball skills as well. Didn't only had 1 pick last year, but he had saving his career. Want to see more ball production, but great technique. Once again, technically sound. Obviously, Garrett Wilson is one of the best now. Not a great ball. That was Zach. That was not Aaron. We get to the next play and we see him in zone. So now at the bottom, he'll be a flat corner. Cover 2. Everybody kind of knows cover 2. You got the short area of the field. Some pre-snap disguise. And then post-snap, you'll see him rotate down. And then once he gets into his position to where he breaks on the ball, just watch the suddenness, the quickness to explode and cover that. So that's why this guy reset the market. You mentioned rebuilding, going to the next phase of that Denver Broncos. This is definitely a cornerstone that you want in your secondary. So he's a Broward County guy, so always
shout out.
Nice. South Florida guy. Okay, always going to have good moxie if you're down there from South Florida. But you talk about that second generation athlete, an NFL guy, and I guess there's even third generation guys that now have made it in the NFL. Quite an advantage if you let it be. Like, there's a lot of, kids or professional athletes or stars that are shitbirds.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so it doesn't automatically mean that you're going to be an NFL guy if your dad or family member played in the NFL. But if you take it and have work ethic and you pay attention and your dad coaches you, you have such a head start. Like, hey, here's the prep. Here's what you're going to have to do. Here's real life of what it takes to become a professional athlete. Marvin Harrison Jr., which is why I think we're going to see him just have a very smooth transition in the NFL because he's been living the NFL life since he's in high school. They talked about him showing up on Ohio State's campus, more jugs reps than anybody else, more time spent in the film room than anybody else, more time in the weight room. The routes he's running in practice are actual routes, not like they're not trying to figure out what it takes to be an NFL guy. You already know what it is because the example's been set for you. He's been like this since we talked. He was in Alabama when we first talked to him? He was like a 35-year-old man we were talking to whenever he was in Alabama, and then the transition in the NFL was seamless.
It was seamless, and like that's on the field and then off the field. You mentioned when you're giving a guy $100 million, pretty much like you got to know, okay, I can trust him off the field, I can trust him in the locker room, I can trust him to be a leader in his meeting room. So that's what you're getting. You mentioned the Marvin Harrison and other guys, and even his running mate in high school, Tyson Campbell. He went on to Georgia, and he was a high second-round pick. He just got paid as well. Was also coached by his dad in high school down there at American Heritage.
It's good stuff. Good. Anytime money's going to players, we like that.
Yeah.
We like that. Speaking of money going to players and guys that are trusted and appreciated, let's go to Pittsburgh Steelers fan, one half of the Hammer, Dahn, Cowboys AP Tone. Cam Hayward negotiates an extension here before the season. I know this was a big talking point in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it was a huge talking point. Walter Payton, Man of the Year. He's been the anchor and basically the leader of that defense for,
12 years now, Cam has been doing it. It reads as a 3-year, $45 million deal. It's basically a 2-year, $29 million extension on the back because he was in the last year of his 5th year of his current deal. Right now, they converted that $16 million that he was due in salary this year to a signing bonus. So he gets that $16 million this year as a signing bonus. And then after that, he's got 2 years, basically $29 million more. So it's basically a 2-year, $29 million extension for Cam.
So obviously his dad is loved not only around the NFL, but in Pittsburgh. He was loved when he went in there. His brother played for the team. Deep roots in Pittsburgh and with the Steelers since before he got to the Steelers. He has been a pillar of the Pittsburgh. They didn't know if this deal was going to get done, though? Was that real?
I mean, I don't think there was any worry within the organization or the fan base. Like, I mean, Cam, he's 35. He's been there forever. There was, what was it, a couple years ago, we saw him running 70 yards down the field making tackles against the Chargers. Like, Cam.
We love Cam.
Cam is the face of that defense.
Tony was on a softball team.
Yeah, Tony and him play softball together. Yeah. Cam's head.
Huge.
Is this big.
Yeah.
Large man. Great guy.
And he somehow still looks fresh. Whatever.
Yeah.
You know, he should look like things should not fit the way. Looks cool, acts cool, is a great leader. I think he's represented Pittsburgh very well. Which I think a lot of Yinzers would agree with. Yeah,
and I would assume. Now I don't know if Cam plans on playing into his 40s, but I assume after these 3 years, I hope he retires as a Pittsburgh Steeler and just has another one of those. Like he's an all-time great Steeler in my opinion.
Yeah, so that D-line remains intact for what it's been, and obviously the defense is going to be great for the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's just how Pittsburgh Steelers football is and has been and forever will be. Well, they have an offense this year.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh. Well, they have an offense. Is Artie Smith and Russell Wilson going to dial it up to give these guys some help on the defensive side? We shall see. Let's go to the Talks the Table at Boston Connor and at Ty Schmidt. Talking about money going out, Trent Williams telling a little bit more about how that all came together with San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, I love it's war. It's war. Listen, a lot of people don't really know what these contract negotiations are like. He laid it out for us. Listen, they're going to spill some blood. I'm going to spill some blood. But in the end, we're all going to wave the white flag. Now, granted, the Niners were doing a little bit more guerrilla warfare, and he was basically like, the U.S. Military. He was launching nukes because he knew, listen, these guys got to pay me. Okay, so his were maybe a little bit more flesh wounds, and he was blowing limbs off. But
let's go to the comment from Trent and see how accurate Ty was there.
Adding up the fines ever in your head? And
Nah, I ain't trying not to think about it. It's one of them things where you kind of know you're gonna leverage. It's what for lack of a better word, it's kind of war. Both sides gonna lose a little blood, but wave the white flag in the end. We both signed a little peace treaty.
They fined me for $4 million. Yep. Got it. I'm getting $83 million on the other side.
Yep.
So I think what you said was journalistically standards accurate with everything you laid out there.
Yeah, I mean, maybe put a little sauce on it, but I think that's the way to look at it. He knew going in, like, hey, guess what? They're going to be able to come out and with their little pea shooters and maybe nick me up a little bit. But in the end, he knew, like, hey, I'm a generational talent. This team goes as far as I'm going to take them, and with Purdy, obviously, but he knew that a deal was getting done, and he knew more than likely that he was going to get what he was asking for.
Let's stay in San Francisco. General Manager Lynch, who's had a lot on his plate.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we got Ayuk, who self-admittedly said, I made it a little harder than it needed to be. Whatever, deal gets done.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Trent Williams, obviously shedding a little blood, a little less than you guys are.